Hello, this video serves as a conceptual guide to the case study Cybersecurity at FireEye, Human+AI. By July 2020, cybersecurity firm FireEye had established many AI-based solutions in its organization. One of the key AI tools the company had implemented was Atomicity, a similarity deducing algorithm that helped human threat analysts categorize new threats more easily. While Atomicity was an internal tool, there were many other AI tools, both internal as well as customer-facing, that FireEye had developed over the past few years. To build AI solutions, the company had adopted a Human+AI approach to AI tool deployment and usage. In a small number of special circumstances, the firm had deployed and used fully automated AI tools. Enabling successful AI implementations had entailed creating an AI framework comprising of an automatability spectrum to determine the degree of automation, a change in the organizational structure and culture, establishment of agile practices to build inter-team collaborations, workflow processes to enable teams to work synergistically, and a mindset change towards software and IT implementations with commitment from all stakeholders to support an iterative process of solution building over time. However, the nature of cybersecurity threats and the supporting technical methods field changed rapidly and continuously, and rules that were applicable earlier became irrelevant as cyber threats evolved and became more sophisticated over time. Considering the swiftly evolving cyber threats, Steve Lesdian, Chief Technology Officer of FireEye Asia Pacific, wondered whether his firm's existing approach of Human+AI was capable enough to tackle the ever-changing challenges in cybersecurity. Was an all-automated AI-driven approach more suitable for cybersecurity? Or were both these approaches suitable simultaneously across every point on the automatability spectrum and in between, depending on the nature of the game the protectors were encountering with the attackers? The case analysis involves 5 broad discussion spaces, shown here. First is an introduction, man versus machine and growing cybercrime. Dangers of cybercrime and the extent of the threat it imposes to governments and industries across the world are very real. The hacking incident that FireEye experienced in December 2020 emphasizes the always present threat of attackers who are armed with substantial resources and capabilities and are constantly upping their game against cybersecurity. In this section, I will talk about the significance of AI technology in cybersecurity and the more generalized influence of AI across industries moving forward. Has the evolution of technology set off an unwinnable economic competition between humans and machines? Is it in the realm of the possible within the next 5 decades for machines to fully replace humans in most aspects of labor? Up to this point in time, the steady and rapid increase in the use of automation across economies worldwide has been accompanied by increasing levels of employment. While individuals have been displaced as a result of labor-saving automation, the broader net benefits of the resulting productivity improvements and accompanying direct and indirect creation of new types of capabilities and services has resulted in employment increases. At this current moment in time, more automation is in use than has ever been the case in all of history. At the same time, the number of people employed is at its highest levels ever known, allowing for some temporary ups and downs due to shocks like COVID-19 and economic slowdowns. Yet several recent studies document how increasing usage of increasingly sophisticated types of automation has exacerbated income inequality and led to a bifurcation of high quality and low quality job growth, even if employment levels have not been reduced. Evolving technologies like AI are likely to prompt changes in job scope rather than cause them to go away completely. And as automation and AI transform the way work gets done, the challenge will primarily involve managing human expectations and responses. It is important to note here that the reason why many industries have adopted automation is because of the multifaceted advantages it offers. Automation frees people from the need to perform tasks that require time and energy so they can expend fewer resources while still achieving outcomes that match or even exceeded those obtained without automation. The phenomenon of automation being deployed in large-scale ways across many industries started with the steam-powered mechanization and the practice of interchangeable parts that occurred during the first industrial revolution starting in the late 1700s. Subsequent innovations such as electrification, new methods of steel production, and further development of machine tools enabled new types of mass production assembly lines. This led to greater formalization of the division of labor and higher degrees of automation in high volume and highly standardized mass production settings, though not in job shops and various types of flexible manufacturing settings. Automation was often looked upon as a necessary evil. In his economic and philosophic manuscripts of 1844, Karl Marx had famously contended that mechanization, automation alienates workers by depriving them of the meaning of their work. And in 1930, the prominent economist John Maynard Keynes famously predicted that within 100 years, by 2030, productivity levels achieved through automation would be so high that the resulting automation-induced labor displacement would have progressed to the point where 3-hour shifts or a 15-hour week may put off the problem for a great while. Neither the predictions of Marx or Keynes have come to pass, though indeed economic inequality and wage disparities, largely influenced by business and institutional policies and not by the use of automation per se, have indeed led to increasing worker alienation in some countries, especially the United States in recent times. A few examples of human effort aimed at improving how they interface with automation are graphical user interface and business process reengineering. In the example of graphical user interfaces, we now interact with objects that are graphically appealing and easy to manipulate. There was once a time when we didn't know if graphical user interfaces, or GUI, would take hold, but this innovation turned out to cause a revolutionary shift in how people used computers. Today, we use graphical user interfaces as an inherent part of surface computing as when we use our cell phones. This example shows that how we interface with technology can greatly expand its use. When consumers like interfacing with technology, they tend to use it more. Business process reengineering, or BPR, is another example. In this case, we assimilate technology into the organization, hoping to improve processes so that we can compete easier. BPR examples show a high risk and reward proposition where billions of dollars are on the line. The point is to change technology so that we can compete smarter and oftentimes survive. This is another example of how technology interfaces influence its use. So both of these examples help explain the increase in the adoption of technology. A key factor influencing the adoption of automation has been human behavior and human mindset. A simple yet interesting example is that of Betty Crocker cake mixes launched by General Mills in the 1950s. The initial sales of the instant cake mixes were disappointing, and the company soon realized that consumers disliked the idea of using a ready-made mix to bake a cake. However, when the mix was tweaked to allow consumers to add an egg to the batter before baking, it became an instant hit. Explanations for the success of this strategy, in other words, cakes might be perceived as tastier or nutritionally richer with the addition of an egg, suggested that when users could not credit themselves for the cake, the mixes were not appealing. This example throws light on how the success of a new product or service depends on its perception and adoption by humans. The same principle applies to the perception and adoption of automation. Summing up the human versus machine discussion, consider the findings of the various reports that predict the impact of AI and other forms of advanced automation on job roles and employment levels. This includes reports from the MIT Work of the Future Task Force, released in November 2020, and the report from the World Economic Forum, Future of Jobs, released in October 2020, and various other reports published by McKinsey & Company and the McKinsey Global Institute Future of Work report. In one of their reports issued in November 2020, McKinsey had predicted that automation and AI will impact humans and displace 20 to 25% of the workforce by 2030. However, they predicted that it will also lead to additional demand in labor, between 21% and 33% of the global workforce, equating to 555 million and 890 million jobs respectively by 2030, more than offsetting the numbers of jobs lost. Similarly, the WEF, or World Economic Forum, Future of Jobs Report 2020 update had concluded that although the number of jobs destroyed will be surpassed by the number of jobs of tomorrow created, in contrast to previous years, job creation in 2020 was slowing. They explained that while job destruction accelerates in the absence of proactive efforts, inequality is likely to be exacerbated by the dual impact of technology and the pandemic recession. Despite the huge promise that AI presents for productivity improvement, creating new products and services, and augmenting the accelerating scientific and engineering discoveries, it must be noted that implementing AI to drive growth and transformation in an organization is not an easy task and requires strategic planning as well as structural changes in the organization. It also involves preparing the workforce and creating the right environment. Once the decision has been made to adopt automation and AI within organizations, leaders often face difficulty in implementing that decision due to several factors like refusal to adapt to the change by employees, their mindset, lack of resources with the right know-how to use the tools, technical challenges of assimilating the data, and organizational challenges posed by existing processes. There are other preliminary challenges that can be incurred, like how, when, and where should automation be applied in the organization. Think about FireEye as an organization and cybersecurity as an industry. Remember that accessing the suitability of AI for a work process or task is a complex undertaking. There are no precise ways to go about this. It is easy to overestimate the capabilities of the AI system or to inappropriately assume that the system is far superior to human capability in doing certain types of narrowly specified predictions. In such cases, there is adequate training data, a verified model, and a stable environment. It would be impressive if the system actually understood what it is doing or can make common sense judgments based on an understanding of the world that goes beyond the specifics of what the model was trained to do. But this is very seldom the case, if ever. It is also easy to underestimate the capabilities that humans bring to a task or complex work process. Even though human cognition is known to be buggy and there are well-documented biases in judgment due to judgmental heuristics or shortcuts used by people, especially when they are under time pressure or fatigued, humans have remarkable and unrivaled abilities to understand explicit and implicit context to quickly devise ways to adapt to changing circumstances, even when there is very little data known about the situation. Successfully deploying automation has always been easier in highly standardized, high-volume production settings and more challenging in settings where there is a wide variety of products to produce or services to deliver. In recent decades, the combination of computer-based controls with inputs from sensor-based systems have gradually relaxed the historically very strong constraints of this efficiency versus flexibility trade-off in both manufacturing and service settings. More capable AI-enabled computer and sensor systems help to further lessen the trade-offs between being efficient but not flexible, or flexible but not efficient. Though even with state-of-the-art AI-enabled machine capabilities, this efficiency versus flexibility trade-off does not disappear. The managers and process owners of today and tomorrow will have to do their own experimentation in their specific product or service settings to figure out the right combination of human and machine capabilities and intelligence. The second space is about the automatability spectrum used by FireEye to access projects for AI implementation. On the right side of the spectrum, illustrated in exhibits 3A and 3B in the case, are tasks easier to automate with AI tools, and technology is the preferred method. On the left side of the spectrum are tasks difficult to fully automate with AI, requiring human intervention with AI tools playing a supporting role. What are the pros and cons of a fully automated task versus a partially automated task? When is a human plus AI interface most suitable? From Exhibit 4 of the case, such decisions are dependent on the nature of the task, the availability of data, whether the data was sustainable, how quickly it changed, and whether the data set was in the right state for it to work well with the machine learning model. Secondly, from the cost perspective, A cost versus value analysis was required to evaluate if the implementation of the ML or machine language model would provide enough value, or if it was better to have a different type of solution for the task. Thirdly, the adaptability of the model and how often it would need to be trained for it to work well with changing data was also a consideration. While the underlying conceptualization of FireEye's AI strategy relied on the automatability spectrum, the integration of the strategy within the organization was enabled through workflow processes that enabled various teams to interact and collaborate to build solutions, agile practices that enabled iterative solution development, an internal data science team who analyzed and designed the solution, and a mindset within teams to work as co-teams in such projects while taking care of their existing responsibilities. Additionally, procedures like risk analysis, in other words, what would be the impact of implementing the solution, and cost value analysis, in other words, did it make business sense to build and implement the solution, model adaptability analysis, was the model flexible enough to change over time with changing scenarios? And data assessments, was there enough data to test the model before implementation and during the pilot phase? Such procedures ensured that AI projects were not just futile experiments to test new technologies, but fruitful exercises that helped resolve existing business challenges. A key point here is the applicability and reusability of an AI solution. Note from the case that the Atomicity tool could be implemented across various solutions in the organization, meaning that the business case of the tool, even though it was developed for internal usage, was significant. Another point is regarding the capability of an AI solution to provide benefits beyond the original expectations. After implementation, the threat detection team realized that the Atomicity tool could also give them visibility of how threat actors evolved over time, an insight which the tool was not originally expected to provide. This fact also leads us to conclude that the benefits of AI projects need to be multifaceted to enable businesses to incorporate it on a larger scale within the organization. This is a hidden capability of AI tools that can only be derived once the solutions have been thoroughly tested and implemented over a longer period of time. Also note that data in the cybersecurity industry is constantly changing, and the data which was used to test the model originally may not be relevant anymore. Under such circumstances, retraining AI models is a constant requirement for teams at FireEye. Retraining models requires significant skill sets, and as FireEye has an in-house technology team and a data science team, this is a great benefit as models can be retrained as and when required, as opposed to scenarios in which an organization hires a third party to implement an AI solution. Finally, integrating AI solutions with the business objectives and organizational structure of an organization is a key aspect that helped FireEye succeed in its AI endeavors. A Deloitte survey report identifies that organizations that have more experience and expertise in implementing AI solutions fast lane derive more benefit from AI implementations as compared to organizations which have limited AI experience, or waiters. That's WADERS. Mainly, this is because senior management is cognizant of the capability of AI technologies in improving their products and services. Having employees on board is also key. The Deloitte survey found that companies that deployed AI systems using expert, rule-based methods or statistical machine learning methods often reported system integration as their key challenge. Such findings reiterated the significance of the integration of AI applications into the organization and the importance of the role played by non-AI experts in IT departments follows towards ensuring the successful implementation of such projects and enabling firms to realize the full potential of such systems. In the cybersecurity industry, as we note from the case, AI had been used for decades. Thus, AI solutions were already an integrated practice in the cybersecurity arena, but in some industries, AI may be a relatively new technology and could require significantly more time to reach a stage where it can be integrated as part of the organization's work processes, like it was done in FireEye. The third space is the Human+AI approach. While the man versus machine discussion is outdated, present-day focus on automation is not as clear as it ought to be. In the automatability spectrum, it is noted that some tasks are suitable for automation while others can only be managed by humans. However, a significant number of tasks across industries requires an amalgamation of machine and human efforts, which is the next topic of discussion for the case. Consider 5 ways of stepping in, a framework proposed by Davenport and Kirby to illustrate how employees within an organization can adapt to AI and make solutions work for the business. As part of the conceptual framework for 5 ways of stepping in, Davenport and Kirby called for an approach to integrate humans and smart machines that emphasizes augmentation over automation. Their work emphasizes that management should approach the use of AI in their organizations with a mindset of augmentation or symbiotic enhancement versus that of automation, which involves work replacement. FireEye had implemented the augmentation method of incorporating AI, with humans always being in the loop. The example of the Atomicity tool built by FireEye illustrates the importance of management practices within an organization that oversees strategic initiatives and investments in AI. In addition, improving such processes can be crucial towards successful implementation of AI solutions. Augmentation can enable employees within an organization to better adapt to AI systems, like it did in the case of FireEye. A key point is that the concept of augmenting human intelligence through new types of symbiosis between people and increasingly intelligent machines has a long history going back to the very earliest days of the use of electronic computers. But how does a company go about approaching the use of AI in their organization with a mindset of augmentation vis-a-vis that of automation, especially at larger scales of deployment? To help analyze the above question, refer to a supporting argument provided by 2 senior consultants from Accenture, Paul Daugherty and Jim Wilson, who state that AI systems are not wholesale replacing us, rather they are amplifying our skills and collaborating with us to achieve productivity gains that have previously not been possible. Daugherty and Wilson described the ongoing emergence of a third wave of business process transformation efforts that are resulting in processes that are more flexible, adaptive, and faster than was previously possible, enabled by digitalization, AI, and other ongoing technical developments. Their key finding is that this ongoing AI-enabled transformation effort has created a huge dynamic and diverse space in which humans and machines collaborate to attain orders of magnitude increases in business performance. We call this the missing middle. Missing because almost no one talks about it, and only a small fraction of companies are working to fill this crucial gap. The missing middle is the growing range of work and activities that are best done as a hybrid of human-machine effort in the middle of the spectrum between those activities that remain as human-only and machine-only. Daugherty and Wilson divide the missing middle into 2 parts. One part is where humans are augmenting the capabilities of AI-based systems and machines by providing the symbiotic activities of training, explaining, or sustaining. The second part of the missing middle is where human capabilities are extended or enhanced. The AI system or machine supports the human in a way that makes it appear as if the human has some degree of superpower. Some may argue that the iterative nature of AI implementation can mean that the AI model can become so strong that it eventually makes inferences like humans as it expands its capabilities and may eventually not be dependent on the human. The decision-making capabilities of an AI model are very different from a human. A human decision can be influenced by emotions and other unique aspects of human intelligence, which are difficult for an AI model to imbibe, even with deep learning capabilities. Creating value from a Human+AI approach is rudimentary for the missing middle. In FireEye's case, AI was used for threat attribution, which included the analysis and identification of whether an attacker was a new entity. For threat attribution tasks, machine learning methods could be used in powerful ways to support human effort. However, such tasks were sufficiently complex, and it was preferable, if not outright necessary, for the analysis to be driven by a human, with the machine language model serving as a support vehicle. The development of the Atomicity tool had been triggered by an operational need processing large amounts of data. Moreover, we note that the scale and scope of data to be considered for threat analysis had been increasing so rapidly in recent years that this had become a mammoth challenge for threat analysts at FireEye. Additionally, the tedious and time-intensive task of manually deciding the most relevant candidates to compare against and collating all of the support data to do the analysis distracted their attention from the primary task, which was to evaluate the evidence and make the decision on whether a universal naming convention needed to be merged with an existing entity. Hence, there was significant value in establishing an algorithmic method of threat attribution in order to analyze vast amounts of data in a relatively short time frame. Besides, although human judgment in determining a threat category as uncategorized was crucial, it is important to note that human judgment can be prone to biases, and AI can defend an organization against such limitations. In this context, refer to the concept of two modes of human thinking summarized by McAfee and Brynjolfsson, based on the foundations of prior pioneering work of two psychologists who study two modes of human cognition. System 1 involves perceptual and reflexive cognition, and System 2 involves cognitive and reflexive processes. AI can help mitigate decision making that comprises human bias. The fourth space is key parameters for successful AI implementation. Think of how atomicity was implemented in the case. While availability of data for testing a model is a key parameter for implementing any AI solution, the organizational structure needs to adapt heavily to incorporate AI solutions as well. FireEye used a top-down approach, and the management tried to foster a culture of collaboration between teams and cross-team knowledge sharing. It tried to avoid silos of expertise and the traditional approach of developing IT systems, which involved the development of the solution in a silo without interactions from others and then handing it off. Moreover, the management tried to avoid finger pointing on unsuccessful implementations. From the case, it can be noted that devising the Atomicity tool required a very high degree of cross-functional collaboration across FireEye's data science experts, cyber threat analysis domain experts, and IT infrastructure and platform engineering experts. Building the model had required time commitment, contribution, and collaboration from employees across all these three areas of expertise. A team was formed consisting of experts from each area. Agile methodologies were implemented to develop the application as a collaborative effort. Also note that FireEye had implemented processes to enable different teams with a mix of skills and perspectives to work collaboratively. It had also implemented decision processes to enable managers and department heads to approach the data science team and build solutions using an agile approach. Moreover, AI solution building was incorporated as part of the organization's mission. People at all levels were encouraged to trust the algorithm's suggestions and at the same time motivated to actively highlight cases in which they had serious doubts about the algorithm's output. In such cases of doubt, users of the outputs were encouraged to raise requests for analyzing the variation and retraining the model. Teams were also aware that the solutions would be built iteratively and would not have all the functionality or the desired degree of accuracy when they were initially deployed. A test and learn and improve mentality and deployment approach was expected, since data scientists, cybersecurity subject matter experts, and IT engineers worked in close collaboration. Even minor issues in the solutions would get highlighted immediately and get fixed before becoming costly problems. The agile approach also ensured that the tools were designed quickly. Moreover, the firm had set up an agile framework in which employees were assigned to agile teams during solution development and deployment. The firm had worked towards inculcating an agile mindset for employees, which is often driven by top management and forms part of a company's culture. The review, validation, and revision of the Atomicity ML tool had become an ongoing effort and was built into the firm's work process. Every instance of machine-generated output and human subject matter experts, or SMEs, assessments on the same topic was carefully compared and assessed over an extended period of time, and insights gathered from this comparison process was used to further fine-tune and train the model. The interaction between the ML systems and human SMEs on an ongoing basis also helped foster co-learning and knowledge building. To summarize this discussion, it is important to have the right mix of people within an organization for AI to be successful. In a Deloitte survey, it was noted that companies which had implemented AI had found skill gaps in a few key roles, which an organization must keep in mind when foraying on the AI solution path. The fifth space is about the Gartner hype cycle. As a post-cursor to this case discussion, consider the Gartner hype cycle. The cycle traces the life cycle of a new technology and how it peaks in terms of implementation test runs across industries and then reaches a maturity stage where it becomes an acceptable and productive part of business model innovation. The Gartner hype cycle discusses 5 phases of technology adoption in the context of AI adoption. The hype cycle starts with a technology trigger. Early proof of concept stories and media interest triggers significant publicity. The technology then reaches a peak of inflated expectations as a few success stories are established, while accompanied by scores of failures which tend to get ignored in the hype. Many companies who invest in such technologies without a clear understanding then go through a trough of disillusionment. Over time, interest dampens as experiments and implementations fail to meet expectations. After extended trials, new technologies often reach a slope of enlightenment where more enterprises start funding pilots. Finally, the technology becomes an accepted part of the industry and mainstream adoption starts to take off. It is this stage that a technology's broad market applicability and relevance starts paying off. While AI is currently, as of 2020, at its peak of inflated expectations, it is close to its trough of disillusionment, and organizations need to plan ahead to enable successful implementation of AI. There are several examples of companies which have successfully implemented AI solutions as part of business transformation. American Express has used data analytics and ML algorithms to help detect fraud in near real time in order to save millions in losses. Volvo has used data to help predict when parts could fail or when vehicles needed servicing, improving its overall vehicle safety services. However, note that AI deployment has to be a slow and steady path and not a sudden decision for organizations. Early in the use of AI, a company needs to have pilot projects that succeed in order to build momentum towards more AI implementations. Successful small-scale pilot projects can allow employees to become familiar with AI technology, recognize that it does not mean the loss of their jobs, and generate enthusiasm for the use of AI models. The Gartner survey also highlights that companies should focus on technically feasible smaller projects that are readily achievable. Moreover, as noted in the case, companies must first assess if there is an organizational need for an AI solution to be built. The accepted understanding is that new companies embarking on the AI path should avoid moonshot projects and target low-hanging fruits instead. The adoption of AI should be managed as a major organizational change effort, given the mindset and organizational structure changes that it demands. Furthermore, in designing a team for the projects, AI experts should be mingled with domain experts. AI does not necessarily need to solve customer-facing pain points. It can be used to solve internal problems as well. Also, an AI solution can be incorporated into a larger system with many other technologies, and AI can add to the efficiency of the system due to its unique abilities. An AI solution does not need to be a standalone solution. As stated earlier, AI can provide scalable learning, which can drive business growth and enable new ways of delivering products and services. A key point here is that in the post-World War II era, companies like Toyota and Exxon have used automation and computerization to take advantage of economies of scale across the full spectrum of the product realization lifecycle. Modern-day automation trends are built around the foundations of the economies of scalable learning versus the traditional economies of scale. Google and Amazon have demonstrated the capability to put economies of scalable learning into large-scale practice across the end-to-end service realization and delivery lifecycle. To conclude, FireEye had built an internal AI and data science team and invested in resources and a company culture that promoted AI solution building. It had also invested in training to enable all employees to understand how to use the solutions and had developed a well-chalked AI strategy to implement effective solutions. Being in the cybersecurity industry, adopting AI had been more of an organizational need for the company. AI technologies had helped the firm go a long way in alleviating a chronic shortage of cybersecurity personnel. But AI models were mostly implemented to automate many of the rote tasks that cybersecurity personnel had to perform manually. Such tools allowed the firm to hunt for cybersecurity threats that were becoming ever more sophisticated. However, we know that almost all industries are facing scenarios where human resources are not sufficient to process the vast amount of data that is being created by businesses and consumers on an everyday basis. Such data analysis should not be avoided, as it may provide businesses with new opportunities and grow their existing scale. Hence, the need for AI algorithms may become a necessity for many industries in the years to come. Moreover, AI solutions may continue to require access to massive amounts of data to be trained to come up with plausible solutions. While executing pilot projects may work well for both new entrants in the AI world and companies who have been using the technology for some years, the rules of building AI solutions pretty much remain universal. Whether a company chooses to build an internal team of IT developers to build a solution or hire a third party, collaboration between teams remains a key criterion. However, companies adopting AI will need to realize that AI models are not going to magically automate every task overnight. Each instance of a solution will need to be trained about the specific environment in which it is deployed. In time, natural language processing coupled with speech interfaces can perhaps make the AI process a bit more fluid, possibly building verbal interaction with an AI model in much the same way people use digital assistants such as Alexa or Siri from Amazon and Apple respectively. However, AI's interaction with humans and its ability to understand human nuances may remain a continuously improving process in the near future. The gap that AI can fill is mainly in processing huge amounts of data based on rules and help humans make more reliable decisions. A human can forget or take sick leave, while an AI system can fail because of a data breach or a system shutdown. However, the symbiosis of the human and AI can be an amalgamation that can help build an interface that is truly sustainable over a longer period of time. The imperative for every organization in this new age of AI-enabled smart machines is to find the right combination of using highly adaptable and versatile human employees with highly efficient and consistent machines that are increasingly intelligent, though in limited ways. Even with the continuation of remarkably rapid advances in AI technologies and applications, human will still be more versatile, more adaptable, and more capable of comprehending and interpreting unquantifiable contexts, and more capable of generating ideas and possibilities that do not require prior experience or available data. Humans are key to our ongoing ability to thrive on change. Intelligent machines are key to our ability to move forward at speed, scale, and at high levels of productivity. We need to simultaneously respond to increasing rates of change in beneficial ways and also achieve high levels of efficiency and productivity. Going forward, we need a new level of human-machine symbiosis so we can leverage this new generation of intelligent machines to augment the innate and remarkable capabilities of humans in ways that enhance business and organizational capabilities for both adaptation and productivity. Thanks for watching this video.